Good morning, everyone. A special welcome to the student group that's here today. Hi, Shanti. Today is a special day. By chance, it's the birth anniversary of Swami Turiyananda, but according to the Western calendar, it's the birthday of Swami Vivekananda, which some years ago was designated as National Youth Day in India. And we all know that Swamiji placed tremendous emphasis on education. He really felt that this was the key to solving all of the problems. Whenever he was asked about something, he said, give them education, whether it was the poor people or the women's question or whatever, and they'll solve their own problems. So he had tremendous faith in the power of education, and he had a lot of very strong and very helpful and very wonderful ideas about education. So I want to talk about that, this ideal education according to Swami Vivekananda. I was actually asked to speak on this topic many years ago at the Institute of Culture. So I developed the talk for that. I gave it here once before also, but they told me that that was the hot topic at that time, that how to bring spirituality into education. And when we look at the type of education that is prevalent throughout the world, in India even more so, at that time especially, a lot of memorization and a lot of cramming of facts into the head. And Swamiji was really way ahead of his time with regard to the philosophy of education, and he really wanted to see some type of assimilation, and he wanted to see a well-rounded type of education. So I wanted to talk about that topic today. I thought, it being January 12th, that this would be a nice time to discuss this topic. I have to say that in many of the schools that are run by the Ramakrishna Mission, they've really made a great attempt at this type of well-rounded education. And I think the more Swamiji's ideas can be put into practice throughout the world, the better off that we'll all be. So this is the question, that what part does spiritual values play in education? Is this something that should be taught? Is this something that should be the responsibility of school systems? Should it just be the parents that are in charge of this? And then these questions come up in this country, especially about separation of church and state. And things like posting the Ten Commandments or Bible reading and things like that. I'm not interested in those types of questions because there's a type of general spirituality, non-sectarian, that has to do with the universal principles and teachings and moral, ethical types of questions, and really concentrating on the whole individual, not just the mental side, but also the emotional side and the spiritual side and the practical side. So I think what Swamiji wanted was that education should be spiritual, as well as providing the tools for people to have a good career and to be able to fulfill all of their duties in society. So he wanted to see all aspects of the individual fully developed as far as possible. When I was growing up, we had this expression that we have to learn the 3 R's. Do they still use that nowadays? Any of the kids know what the 3 R's are?
Reading and religion.
Actually, there's only one that begins with R. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's a very old expression. It's really arithmetic, of course. And only one begins with an R. I mention that because we have something called the 3 H's. And this is something that Swami Atmajnananda spoke about, another direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, but that fits in perfectly with what Swamiji wanted to see in education. Does anybody know what the 3 H's are? Okay, head, heart, and hand. So that means, in addition to traditional type of education, that there should be some karma yoga. There should be some skillful or methods of skillfulness that are taught, efficiency in work, personal responsibility for action, how we take ideals and put them into practice. So generally we can say that this is a type of karma yoga. And also how we can be detached from the fruits of action, how we can act in a dedicated spirit, how we can have some type of higher ideal. So this will be the hand portion. Then the head portion will be how to really practice what we call discernment or discrimination, how we are able to distinguish between what's really of deeper value in life and what is simply something for pleasure and enjoyment. So for children, sometimes this is the distinction between sharing or taking everything for ourselves, small children especially. But concern for the welfare of others, concern for the world, this type of discriminative thinking. And also how to learn the art of concentration. Swamiji put tremendous emphasis on this idea of concentration to bring out the hidden powers of the mind. And he had this wonderful theory that we never learn anything from the outside, that we're given some hints and some clues. We may even be told the truth, but it's not a truth until we discover it within. So all of this falls under this idea of head. And then heart, of course, is that we have to learn to love other people, how to identify with other people, sympathize with the poor and the underprivileged. From a spiritual point of view, try to see the divine within all beings. Try to see God dwelling with all beings and feel that serving them is the highest type of worship of God. So these will be these three different aspects. We can almost say four, because under head, we have both this power of thought and this power of concentration. So I want to go through some of these ideas. We can say the non-academic side of education and concentrate on the spiritual training of children and young adults also. Simply providing the means for a future career will not produce the type of adults that we really want to see in this world. They can become very, very successful people, and we see that many, these are very brilliant people, that they have no interest in helping the world or anything. That they become highly successful and make a lot of money for themselves. And then there are others who are the opposite, become very generous and philanthropic. So I want to go back and look at this non-academic side of education. And one of the things we find is that if we go back to the Vedic tradition, we see that this was the ideal at that time. That the first thing that the students had to learn was dharma. What does it mean to be a righteous individual? What does it mean to have some type of ideal that we follow in life? And this was something that the student was taught by the guru, an enlightened guru, and would serve for the rest of the lifetime. Unless one learned dharma in the student stage of life, then in the householder stage of life, there are no guidelines, only selfishness. Some people, of course, naturally feel for others, but if we learn these guidelines of dharma at a young age, then this will serve for a whole lifetime. So we'll start with the head first. Now, why the head? Why not the hand or the heart? Swamiji also had a theory that if we understand something, then naturally all of the ramifications will take place on their own. We don't have to convince ourselves that we have to do it this way or that way, or do it because somebody tells us. When we were kids in school, that was always the question. Why do we have to learn this? What's the point of all of this? And unless we're given a real reason for it, yeah, this will serve you for this reason or that reason, there won't be much incentive. Swamiji says this even about morality, that morality that is not based on some higher principle, he says, is just fear of the policeman. That why else do we do that? Why do we not commit crimes and rob others and everything? Fear that we'll get caught and thrown in jail. But if we understand some deeper principles of who really owns things and respect for other people, then these things follow naturally. So if we understand that we don't own anything really, that everything that we have is a gift, just given to us for a short period of time, then there won't be that tendency to hoard things. And if we understand that living a life just fulfilling desires is not a very happy type of life, then we won't try for it. If people simply say, don't be selfish, then we can say, why? Why should I not be selfish? And then if we tell them, you won't find happiness that way. You want to be happy, you'll see there's greater joy in unselfishness. So this idea of head first, this idea that if we understand the principle, if we understand God dwells in all beings, we teach it to children, God dwells within all beings, and then of course they'll have some desire to serve others, or at least be kind to others. Yeah. We tell kids, it's not good to beat animals. And they say, oh, well, why not? They say, God also dwells within them. If they can understand this principle, then it becomes a very natural, easy type of thing. So this is this logical reason, I think, for beginning with this head portion. Now, Swami Vivekananda, he taught in this country, to a large extent, Advaita Vedanta. And if we look at the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and very traditional teachings, we find that generally it's felt that this is meant for a very high caliber of individual, especially one who is ready to renounce everything, someone who doesn't have too much attachment to the world or body consciousness or anything, and not very well suited for householders, and something that more for those who give up the world and go into the forest and don't care too much even to look upon this world as something very real. Now, Swamiji had this idea that this knowledge should be made available to everyone, and everyone should be able to have this knowledge, and they should be able to apply it to whatever extent they can in their lifetime. So it's a very wonderful type of teaching. You spread this throughout the world. Those who are ready for it will be able to practice it. Those who aren't ready for it will have heard it. And at some time in their life, it will blossom forth. So Swamiji even wanted small children, he liked this idea, to be taught at a very young age that, yes, I am free, I am divine, that divine self is within me, to give them that strength. Swami is a great prophet of strength. So he wanted to break the bonds of this restricted ideal and let everyone hear this, that Vedanta, he used to say, for too many years was kept in the mountain caves and the forests and not allowed to enter the marketplace of the world. So he really wanted this to become available to everyone. And he wanted to see this form the basis for education of children. This idea of oneness, that we all feel that we belong to the same absolute reality, that God dwells within each and every being. And also this idea, we have, of course, there are many ways of understanding it, but this idea that God alone is real and this world is somehow false. Not to teach that this world is insignificant or anything like that, but to teach that a worldly life, which is a pleasure-seeking type of life, is not the highest type of ideal, and it won't bring happiness. So at least that type of distinction, that this world will not satisfy all of our needs if we're only thinking in terms of how much money we can get and how much possession that we can have and how much enjoyment that we can have, that we need to have some type of higher ideal. So really, this ideal of renunciation, we think even most adults are not ready for it. Swamiji thought the children should have some sense of that at the very beginning, that there's some joy in doing things for others. Really, what is unselfishness? It's a type of renunciation. To be able to give oneself up to a higher ideal and to work for the benefit of other people. He used to refer to a beautiful illustration from the scriptures. There was a queen named Madalasa, and Swamiji spoke about her and the way she raised her children. And we find references in a couple places. One was in Thousand Island Park. He used to say that the queen, she rocked her children to sleep in their cradles with the words, Tat Twamasi, thou art that. Small children, before they could even think, maybe the first words that they were hearing. And as a result of that the first 3 of her sons grew up, and as soon as they were old enough, they renounced everything. They became monks, and the 4th one was very separately because they didn't want all of them. One should at least keep the family name and take over for the family and everything. So he was kept a little separately. He had to be, she was a queen, so he had to take over the throne one day. But then Swamiji explains that the mother gave a piece of paper for him to read once he grew up, once he attained manhood. On it was written, God alone is true, all else is false. The soul never kills nor is killed, live alone or in the company of holy ones. And he too renounced the world and became a sannyasin. So Swamiji liked this story very much. He refers to it, as I say, a couple of different times. We see in a lecture that he gave on Vedanta and its application to India life, that Swamiji he refers to this again. He says, people get disgusted many times at my preaching Advaitism. I do not mean to preach Advaitism or any ism in the world. The only ism that we require now is the wonderful ideal of the soul, its eternal might, its eternal strength, its eternal purity, and its eternal perfection. If I had a child, I would teach from its very birth. I would from its very birth tell it, thou art the pure one. You have read in one of the Puranas, from Markandeya Purana, the beautiful story of the queen Madalasa. So this is the second reference. How, as soon as she had a child, she puts her baby with her own hands in the cradle, and how, as the cradle rocks to and fro, she begins to sing, thou art the pure one, the stainless, the sinless, the mighty one, the great one. So this is what Swamiji wanted to see when children, as soon as they are old enough to start some type of education, to give them this feeling of strength and the majesty of the self. That this is the greatest gift that we can give to anyone, especially children. Nowadays, there's so much of bullying and so much of peer pressure and everything that everyone's tendency is there to judge ourselves and everybody else by the way the group thinks. And if they can feel that, yes, I have that inner strength within, nothing can touch me, you can do whatever you like, but I'm the self. I'm immortal. For Swamiji, this Atman was not simply this indwelling consciousness of a highly philosophical type of idea. For him, it was the source of strength. And as I say, Swamiji was really the great prophet of strength. So, for children and everyone to feel this inner strength, not that they shrink from the world, we can enter into the world, we can care about other people, because we have that independence. We know that we can stand on our own feet, and this is what Swamiji felt, especially in India at that time. This was still when they were under the control of the British, that Swamiji felt that the country had lost its inner strength, manliness, he used to say. And he wanted to see even a little rajas, even this little feeling that, yes, I can do anything. He loved this idea. Some of his most beautiful statements were about strength. Strength. Strength is what the Upanishads speak to me from every page. This is the one great thing to remember. It has been the one great lesson I've been taught in my life. Strength, it says, strength. O man, be not weak. Are there no human weaknesses? Says man. There are, say the Upanishads, but will more weakness heal them? Would you try to wash dirt with dirt? Will sin cure sin? Weakness cure weakness? Strength, O man, strength, says the Upanishads. Stand up and be strong. Aye, it is the only literature in the world where you find the word abhi, fearless, used again and again. In no other scripture in the world is this adjective applied either to God or to man. Abhi, fearless. And in my mind rises from the past the vision of the great emperor of the West, Alexander the Great. And I see, as it were, in a picture, the great monarch standing on the bank of the Indus, talking to one of our sannyasins in the forest. The old man he was talking to, perhaps naked, stark naked, sitting upon a block of stone, and the emperor, astonished at his wisdom, tempting him with gold and honor to come over to Greece. And this man smiles at his gold and smiles at his temptations and refuses. And then the emperor, standing on the authority, as an emperor says, I will kill you if you do not come. And the man bursts into a laugh and says, you never told such a falsehood in your life as you tell just now. Who can kill me? Me you kill, emperor of the material world. Never, for I am spirit, unborn and undecaying. Never was I born, and never do I die. I am the infinite, the omnipresent, the omniscient, and you kill me, child that you are. That is strength. That is strength. And the more I read the Upanishads, my friends, my countrymen, the more I weep for you, for therein is the great practical application. Strength, strength for us. What we need is strength. One more quote. What we want is strength, so believe in yourselves. We have become weak, and that is why occultism and mysticism come to us. These creepy things. There may be great truths in them, but they have nearly destroyed us. Make your nerves strong. What we want is muscles of iron and nerves of steel. We have wept long enough. No more weeping, but stand on your feet and be men. It is a man-making religion that we want. Women also. That we want. It is man-making theories that we want. It is man-making education all around that we want. And here is the test. Anything that makes you weak, physically, intellectually, and spiritually, reject as poison. There is no life in it, it cannot be true. Truth is strengthening. Truth is purity. Truth is all knowledge. Truth must be strengthening. It must be enlightening. It must be invigorating. So we see that so many problems are solved if we have this type of attitude. This question of fear, insecurity, this poor self-image, selfishness, competitiveness, greed, all of these things disappear with some deeper understanding. It is not that we simply say, no, it's not right. Why is it not right? Now, if we understand the real nature of the self, the real purpose of life, these things will easily, or more easily, dissolve away. So this first part of the head, we will say, will really be some deep understanding of the nature of reality, what's important in life. Now, the second part is this great emphasis on concentration. That Swamiji thought if we simply give the skill of concentration to students, they'll be able to figure things out. They'll be able to place their mind on something and easily grasp the essence of it. So Swamiji thought this was far more important than just giving students a bunch of things to memorize and lists and all of that, categories and everything, without developing that power to concentrate and assimilate. So he didn't want to see this cramming of facts into the head. He used to say about himself, he would be very happy if he could find a medicine that he could take that would allow him to forget all of the things that he had learned. Yeah, of course, don't take that literally. But this is ideal about education. He said education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain and runs riot there, undigested all your life. We must have life-building, man-making, character-making assimilation of ideas. So this, he thought, would come through this practice of concentration and meditation. Meditation is one way to learn how to concentrate the mind. When we talk about meditation, we really mean concentration. We're trying to focus the mind on a particular thing. And if children can learn how to focus the mind. See, one problem nowadays is with this Google and other things that nobody has to think much anymore. And now you can get whole essays written for you by going to this, what is it, AI chat or something? Yeah. What is it called? Chat? Oh, anyhow. Yeah. Better not to know about it. Yeah. Yeah. Even who knows how to add and subtract anymore? You just have your computers to do everything. Yeah. Even they say that the fact that nobody knows anybody's phone number anymore. Yeah. There's no need to memorize a phone number. You have it right in your phone. That the whole portion of the brain is not working anymore. And we lose that capacity. So in this modern age, these things are even more important. That to develop this power to concentrate the mind, to memorize. Now, Swamiji is talking about not cramming things and just memorizing things, but this power to hold things in the mind and assimilate them. That this is, see, the mind has a certain potential to it. I remember when we were little, they used to say we use something like 20% of the mind, of the potential of the mind, that it just goes undeveloped. That most people have tremendous capacity to develop different aspects of the mind, that if it doesn't happen when we're young, it usually doesn't happen at all. So he wanted to see this, especially with the education of children, to develop this power of concentration and deep thinking, these things together. So this first part, the sense of the majesty of the soul, divinity of the soul, and this refined intellect and power of concentration. So these together will represent this, the head portion of education that Swamiji wanted to see. And not just learning a bunch of facts without assimilating them. Okay, then we go to the hand. So if we think of education in terms of training, then not only this moral and ethical spiritual values, but training in skillfulness of action. Now, it doesn't mean that it's a technical school where somebody learns to be a carpenter or an electrician or something like that, but just the way that whatever we do, there's a method to acting. There's a method to doing something with planning and thinking and going step by step, having a method that will be helpful with everything that we do. Yeah, we say with the carpentry things that you always have to measure twice and cut once. Simple little things like that. Yeah, and just to learn to think things through in the beginning, to know how to do things skillfully, and then again without attachment. All of the things that we know as the essential features of karma yoga. So, we need to impress upon children and everyone the need to do things with care, to do things with love, to do things with attention, to do things with a desire to make them perfect, a desire to, of course, this becomes a kind of fanaticism, not perfectionism, but to do things so that we can be proud of what we do, not just to finish it, that we can be proud of the things that we do. And again, there's a principle behind it, that it may be, if we have that attitude, we do everything as an offering. As if, see, we have this philosophy, this as-if philosophy, that as if we could go to whatever our understanding of God is, that we could go before that divine presence and say, I did this. This is for you. To do it with that type of feeling. So again, the principle precedes everything. That we can't simply tell children, yeah, do it this way. We can't simply tell them that be neat and efficient. If we say, why does it matter? I'm doing mathematics. Why does it matter if it's neat or not? I had a teacher when I was in school. She was just a terror. But when we would do a simple mathematics, you know you have to draw a line under it. We had to use a ruler, to draw a line. And if we did this, the number 2, she wanted it done with a loop. If we did it a different way, she wouldn't count it right. And we thought what is this nonsense? But then we found out it's tremendous discipline. And you get to the point where you say, see how nicely the sheet looks, that everything is lined up in straight lines and everything like that. So this idea of taking pride in work, and again, not being too attached. We do whatever we can do as best as we can do. Not everyone is going to get 100% and get an A+ with everything. Some satisfaction that we really tried, and that we did our homework and we studied and all of that. So we need to present children with a principle, and this principle is dedicated action, however we understand it. Dedicated action. This is one of the great themes of Bhagavad Gita. Do everything as an offering to God, to serve others as a worship of God, to recognize our divine nature, the divine nature of others, and feel that we're all instruments in the hands of God. And see how this Karma Yoga includes so many other things. It includes this Jnana Yoga, and it includes this Bhakti Yoga, all different ways. And to understand that skillfulness is the key to all of these things. If we want to offer something, then we won't do it in a sloppy manner. There'll be some devotion to detail, the dakshata, something called dakshata, that efficiency, not wasting things. Even simple things like that. If people say you should recycle, why should I recycle? Yeah, the world will go on whether I recycle or don't recycle. If we have some respect for the earth, we have some respect for people, that we see this world is divine, this earth itself. See, nobody had to tell the Native American people in this country, nobody had to tell them you should recycle. No one had to tell them that don't simply throw something out. The earth was sacred to them. If it was sacred to them, then they said, yes, of course. Why should you have to tell me something like that? They had no concept that let the next generation worry about it. It was far into their thinking. We have to learn to think that way. I was just reminded of a very nice story. I think it was Swami Gautamanandaji, the president of the order. It may have been somebody else. I think it was him, that he was telling, he worked with tribals at one time. And one morning he thought, I'll teach them not to tell a lie. So good. So he was telling them, it's wrong to tell a lie. So they said, what do you mean? What is telling a lie? He says, suppose you did something, you said you didn't do it. And they looked at him and said, if we did something, why would we say we didn't do it? So he went on like that, and then he understood. They didn't understand the concept of a lie. We have to learn these things, how to be clever and tricky and everything, that they just didn't have that concept. So, yeah, I did it, so I should say that I did it, that's all. A very nice thing. So he was very kind of shocking to him. Yeah, well, I tried to teach them what a lie is, they don't know what a lie is. Yeah. So the training, anyhow, this training, that's something very important. In our monastic order, it's the same thing. Those who join, they find out they're treated like little children in school in the beginning, with scoldings and everything. And why there was so much emphasis, some of the early disciples, direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, say Swami Premanandi, he was well known for this because he was in charge of many of the young monks who joined. How they would get these big scoldings if they did anything in a sloppy manner. That, especially with cutting vegetables for some reason, that there are so many stories about that he wanted if they had to peel vegetables and everything, not to waste anything. Of course, they were poor in those days also. And it was something that they couldn't afford if they were very wasteful. India, see, the old India, there was no waste of anything before the plastics and things came. That whatever was left over would be given to the cattle. If not them, that would just go out on the street where other animals would come. Everything would be used. There was no what to do with the plastics and things. That wasn't an issue. So anyhow, this was a very big thing to teach them to be skillful and not to waste anything. There's a story about one of the presidents of our order, Swami Shankaranandaji, that he used to go on tour sometimes to the different stations where the young monks were working. And he sees that some of the monks are peeling potatoes and not very carefully doing it, not with much concentration or anything. And he sees that not just taking the skin, but they've taken quite a bit of the flesh of the potato along with the skin. So very quietly, he was a man of few words. He said, "Bring them to me." All of the cuttings. So they didn't know what was happening. They brought him. He, the president of the order, with his own little knife, cut off the potato portion from the skin. There was enough that they could make a little potato curry, and it was offered to Sri Ramakrishna, and told to all these young monks, you see, this is all the things that you failed to cut from the potato, that you thought you could simply throw it out. So just to give that teaching that be skillful in things and don't waste things. This Mahapurush Maharaj, Swami Swahananda, he was very particular that they sweep the path, everything is perfectly clean. Now, he had his own reason. They would say, why are you so particular? He used to say, don't you know Sri Ramakrishna walks here? Now, these great souls, they have a vision, they see things that we don't see. And even if we can't see it, we should think that way. If he were to walk here, how would we like to see this? Would we like him to walk and see that there's dirt and thorns and things there? So a lot of this is just little devices that we use in order to make the mind start thinking in a different direction, so that we paid attention to all detail. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, half the time I'm in such a state of mind, I don't know if my cloth is on or if it fell off. But when I'm not in that state, I never lose anything or forget anything. He was very, very particular. Things should go back in their place, that don't misuse things, don't waste things. He was very particular about all of these things. So everything should be done with the same degree of love and care and attention. And when we sit for meditation, the mind will also, it'll be able to focus more deeply. Otherwise, we're simply sleepwalking through life. So we want to really be focused in everything that we do. So this hand portion, it means fully awake to all the consequences of our actions. Try to see the ramifications of whatever we do. Yeah. We have a front door here. Most of you know that if we've never been able to adjust it properly, that if you just let it go, it'll slam and it'll make a noise. Everybody who sits in here hears it when it's out there, but when they walk in, they don't think that there may be people sitting in here, it'll disturb them. Simple things like that whatever we do, there'll be some effect on somebody else. So to consider the different ramifications, this idea of apramada, that we don't want to be inattentive to things. We want to think about things very carefully. Sri Ramakrishna, he taught these things to Holy Mother, not just spiritual ideals and truths, but very practical types of things that he would tell her. Be the first one to enter a room and the last one to leave. See if anybody left anything behind. Simple little things like that, very practical types of teachings. It's Swami Turiyananda's birthday, so I'll tell one little story about him. That they used to have these little picnics in the Panchavati. where Sri Ramakrishna did all of his spiritual austerities. Still, he used to like to go out there. They would sit on the platform and they would have the snacks and sing songs and everything. So one day they were there. Swamiji asked, Huddy was his name, that go bring my knife. And we'll use it, we'll cut some fruit and we'll have a little picnic and everything. So then everything's done, and then afterwards, Sri Ramakrishna says, did you bring it back? He said, yes. He said, where did you put it? I put it on the shelf. He said, where did you take it from? Oh, it was by your bed. He said, then why didn't you put it back there? Always put things back in the same place where you take them from. It turned out he had a very interesting reason. But anyhow, this was just one of the teachings that Sri Ramakrishna would give, not just these spiritual things. So, mindfulness in everything that we do. One quick story about Swami Shankaranandaji. When Swami Swahananda was, when he first joined, he was in charge of the hostel, student hostel, the Vidya Mandir. And he asked Swami Shankaranandaji that what is the one thing that we want the students to learn from us? What is that one kind of message that they should take after years of studying in our schools? So the Swami Shankaranandaji, and I think he said this to many others also, he said, it'll be enough if they learn to think before they act. If they learn to stop first and think, what are all the ramifications of this? How will it affect me? How will it affect other people? And let them think and really look at all the possible options of everything, and then do what they decide to do. It sounds like a very simple thing, but it's a great lesson for life. So we've done head and hand, now heart. So this is maybe the most important, that if students learn to be skilled in action, if they learn to be very intelligent, if they learn how to concentrate the mind, but they have no feeling for other people, they don't have any love in their hearts, then what type of education is this? So we see with Swamiji, it wasn't simply this great strength of the self, and it wasn't simply concentration of mind, but he wanted people to feel for others. And again, it goes back to that principle that I have to think, what does it feel like to me? This one of the great teachings of Bhagavad Gita, this golden rule, that if things affect me in a certain way, I have to know that they affect you in the same way. I should have that same standard with everyone, and feel the joy of helping other people, feeling that that divine presence is within each and every person. And there's tremendous joy if we can think about other people before ourselves. What do they say? The kid, sharing is caring. Huh? Yeah, really, these are teachings for a lifetime. They sound so simple and not very deep, but they're very, very important. So we find this with Sri Ramakrishna, that he said those who don't have any compassion in their hearts, they're not even human beings. He said this is the lowest bar that we have. At least have some feeling for other people. There's some people used to accuse Sri Ramakrishna that, you're talking about this daya, compassion, that it's not such. For him, compassion was too low a bar, that it has to be, we have to act out of love for other people, and not just some feeling of pity or anything like that. So if we really feel that everyone is our own, we have a family connection with everyone, we don't have to ask ourselves why we want to help a brother or a sister. It should be the same with others. Or at least all children of the same God, or at least belonging to the same human family. Some feeling of connectedness with everyone. So this idea of compassion, does a mother feel compassion to a child? If a child soils the clothes and the mother washes the child and everything, we say, oh, how compassionate the mother is. And no one will say that. It's her own child. So this is why Sri Ramakrishna, he thought there has to be something deeper than compassion, that we have to feel that we're all in the same boat, we all belong together, we're all part of one family, and this whole world is a family, the great Kutumbika. How does it go? With Vasudhaiva Sukhamata. Yeah, the whole world is like a small village. It's all a family. We all belong to each other. So this is why when Swami Vivekananda traveled through the country, that this was the one question he asked: do you care about anybody else but yourself? That he wanted to see this develop to such an extent that people were ready to sacrifice their lives for the welfare of others. He gave one lecture in India, My Plan of Campaign. He said, "Feel, therefore, my would-be reformers, my would-be patriots, do you feel that millions and millions of the descendants of gods and of sages have become next-door neighbors to brutes? Do you feel that millions are starving today and millions have been starving for ages? Do you feel that ignorance has come over the land as a dark cloud? Does it make you restless? Does it make you sleepless? Has it gone into your blood, coursing through your veins, becoming consonant with your heartbeats? Has it made you almost mad? Are you seized with that one idea of the misery of ruin, and have you forgotten all about your name, your fame, your wives, your children, your property, even your own bodies? Have you done that? That is the first step to become a patriot, the very first step." So we see now these three levels, these three aspects of what Swamiji really believed to be the ideal education, that not just cramming a bunch of facts into the head, but developing some deep understanding, spiritual understanding about the real nature of the self, this value of life. We don't want to waste this life. And also developing that power of concentration. This refined intellect that's able to hold on to things and grasp things and everything. And be able to unfold this divinity within ourselves. And then to act skillfully in this world. And then to open up the heart so that we feel love and compassion for all. So this is the ideal education according to Swami Vivekananda. And we seek his blessings on this very special day, that we can all, it's not just for children, that we can all try to put these principles into practice. So let us sit for a few minutes and just try to assimilate some of these ideas, dwell on them, and see how they can resonate within us and be important in our lives.